Howdy, Unity of Tustin. We are going to start with a little icebreaker, and I'm going to round you up into a do-si-do of getting to know each other. So this is the game. I want you all to get into groups of 3 or 4, okay? And then your facilitator is going to give you 5 minutes. And in those groups of 3 or 4, you need to find out something each of you have in common. Okay? And now, if you pick the low-hanging fruit and you say, well, maybe we all have in common that we're part of the spirit group, and you're done in 1 minute, keep going and see if you can find things maybe a little more surprising, maybe a little more esoteric. And then at the end of the 5 minutes, someone from each group will share the 3 most interesting things you discovered you all have in common. So have fun with that exercise, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back. I hope you found that enjoyable. And I think what we know is at the deepest levels, we all have more in common than we think. We all want healthy children and clean water and safe houses and good lives of meaning and purpose where we get to experience and express our greatest gifts. We have more in common than we don't. And what Katie is having us see is that one of the things we also have in common is that we are all really good at judging the heck out of each other. And we're also really good at judging ourselves. And that's what we're going to work on today. Chapter 7 in this week 4, doing the work on self-judgment. Now, don't judge yourself if you didn't read chapter 7. You were not supposed to. So just watch, and that's going to be more than enough. So let's take a look. Katie starts this chapter by talking about an experience with her 3-year-old grandson, Race. She gets him this Darth Vader toy. You put a coin in, Darth Vader lifts his saber and says, "Impressive, but you are not a Jedi yet." Well, Katie sees that her grandson becomes quite despondent, and he's like, "No, Grandma, I'm not a Jedi." And Katie wants to fix this. So she brings him over. "You're my little Jedi." He puts in the coin. "Impressive, you are not a Jedi yet," Darth says. And he's like, "No, I'm not a Jedi." So she goes to an extreme. She actually has a friend who's a pilot, and they go on a flight. And as they're coming off, she has the crew say on an overhead speaker, "Race, you're a Jedi. You're the best Jedi ever." And he goes home, he puts in the coin, he listens to Darth, and he says, "Grandma, I'm not a Jedi." So, most of us judge ourselves just as relentlessly as the Darth Vader plastic toy. And it doesn't matter how much positive feedback we get from the outside. We generally are going to hold on to these self-judgments and beliefs unless we dissolve them with inquiry. So one of the best ways that we can discover what our underlying self-judgments are is when we're doing the work and we do a turnaround and something really stings. Like if I have a belief, he should love me. And then I'm like, well, maybe I should love myself, okay? Maybe he shouldn't love me. Maybe that's reality that I need to accept, okay? Maybe I should love him better. Ouch. That's where I need to do my work. So let's come up with some self-judgments that we can work on today. Now, I'm going to have you take a moment and write down a few self-judgments that you can identify. So take out a piece of paper and just write down some that you think work for you, and I'll give you some examples. If you don't know what to write of a good self-judgment, join the Enough Club. This could be, "I'm not enough," "I'm not good enough," "I'm not thin enough," "I'm not funny enough," "I'm not I'm not smart enough. Those are really good self-judgments to choose if you want to be popular, because they're very, very common. And now underneath those, sometimes there's a lovability issue. Maybe the belief under that is, I'm not lovable. I'm inherently flawed. I don't deserve self-compassion. You do, because you don't know any better, but I should know better. And then under that is sometimes our relationship with God. I'm not a perfect child of God. I am not seen with love by the beloved. Whatever it is with you, pick a belief that resonates as a self-judgment. And if you're struggling to find one, just use the one that Katie uses that we're going to use today, which is, I am a failure. And I certainly know that I can resonate with that. There were years of my life where I did not live with a deep authenticity, where my life didn't work well, but I pretended it did. And sometimes I can think, maybe I'm a failure. Maybe I'll never get those years back. Maybe I'll never catch up. Maybe there's no fixing it. So if that resonates for you, use this belief as well. So let's consider judgment like that. I'm not enough. I'm not lovable. I'm not holy. I'm a failure. And now we're going to do the work. So I'm going to ask you first, go inside with questions 1 and 2. Is it true? Take a moment. If you want, close your eyes, take a breath. Is it true? Ask yourself, can I absolutely know it's true that I'm a failure, that I'm not enough, that I'm not holy? Loved ones in my life may give me that feedback. Children or parents may tell me that. But can I absolutely know that's true? Could it be that all along I have lived the life I should have lived, and that everything I've done has been what I should have done? Could it be that reality should never be different than it actually is? Could that be? Now I invite you to move on to question 3. And you may want to take out one of your worksheets and write this down. Make a list of how you react, how you feel physically, and how you treat yourself and others when you believe the self-judgment. I am a failure. I'm not enough. I'm not lovable. I'm not holy. Whatever your judgment is, take a moment and write it out. When you believe that thought, what do you do specifically? What do you say specifically? Do your shoulders slump? Does your body posture contract? Do you snap at people? Are you more edgy because you're defending your not enoughness that you don't want anyone to see? Do you go to the refrigerator? Do you pour yourself a drink? Do you watch another episode while staying on the couch? How do you react? How do you feel physically? And how do you treat yourself and others when you believe your self-judgment of choice? And I'll give you one more minute to finish up writing it down. It's really important, if you can, to write it down. Move it from the mind to the paper, to mind to the computer screen. Now we're going to continue this guided, self-facilitated work by going inside with question number 4. Who would you be without the thought? Who would you be without that self-judgment? Who would you be? Experience what your life would be like if you never had this thought again. Wow. Take a moment and close your eyes. And picture how you would be, how you would show up, how you would energetically be present without the thought, I am a failure. I am not enough. I am unlovable. I am not whole. Who would you be without those self-judgments? How do you hone? Be still as you watch. Let that reality recalibrate you right now, so you vibrate with the frequency of your essence without that self-judgment. Who would you be without that thought? Take a moment and write it all down. Write it all down. Who would you be without that thought? Who are you being right now without that thought? Write it down. How do you approach your loved one and the person who you find challenging without that thought? I'll give you one more minute. Okay, now we're ready for the turnarounds. And the turnaround for self-judgments are quite radical. I'm not a failure turns around to I am not a failure. I am a failure becomes I am not a failure, or I am a success. I am not enough becomes I am enough. I have always been more than enough. Go inside and let it reveal to you how the turnaround is as true or truer than the original statement. Let yourself feel how the turnaround is true or truer than the original statement. I am not holy, I am holy. I am lovable. And there's not a right or wrong way to do it. And if you're feeling stuck, sometimes a good strategy is to replace the word I with my thinking. And this can bring a realization. So I am a failure becomes my thinking is a failure. I am not enough becomes my thinking is not enough to encompass the divine order of what is. I am not thin enough becomes my thinking isn't thin enough. My thinking is too fat to let me see the beautiful essence of all of reality. So take a moment with those turnarounds. And what I'd like you to do is, in the part of your worksheet or wherever you're writing about turnarounds, now make a list of the ways in which you are a success. Make a list of the ways you are already enough. Make a list of the ways you are beautiful, that you are lovable. Make a list of the ways that you are holy. And write that down now. Without the self-judgment, aren't you perfectly fine? It's the thoughts and the self-judgments that are painful, not our life, not our essence, not our divine presence. So keep going with those lists. Write down the ways in which you are a success, are enough, are beautiful, are lovable, are holy. The way God sees you, the way you are. Your facilitator will give you a couple more minutes to finish that up, and I look forward to connecting with you as we bring this wonderful spirit group to an end. Welcome back, everyone, and I trust you've had a wonderful spirit group tonight. I've really enjoyed being here to share this material with you that I've been practicing myself. So let me give you some recommended but optional homework assignments. One is, next week we're going to explore doing the work on underlying beliefs. That's chapter 9. So if you'd like, read chapter 9, but it's not a have to. You can show up and participate with the video and you will be just fine. The other thing I encourage you to do is catch yourself being authentically beautiful in the moment this week. What I'd like you to do is every day identify 3 successes. It can be as simple as I brushed my teeth, I did the dishes, or I breathed. But catch yourself doing 3 successes every day. It's a wonderful thing to be a success at being what you are, whether you realize it or not. So those are some optional things to keep the work going forward. If you see yourself getting reactive or thinking you're right, great time to do the work on a worksheet. And with that, let's take a moment and close out in prayer. So I invite everyone to move into that interior space where we can see with the eyes of the heart. This is heart-changing work. It's presence-changing work. We can release and let go of what doesn't serve us. Let's take a moment to bring in some self-forgiveness. I forgive myself for all the times I lived according to self-judgments that were never true. And take a deep breath. Just let it all go and notice what you experience. One of the things Katie asks us to do is to look forward to the next time we have a relapse. So I invite you all to look forward to the next time that self-judgment comes up and say to yourself, yes, yes, Spirit, I am willing to experience that self-judgment again. I look forward to experiencing that self-judgment again, because it's likely to happen, because that is my cue that I have more work to do, and the work collapses more of what's not real, so I can be present to the fullness and beauty of reality as it is. And we bring forward our awareness of ourselves individually and collectively and all of creation as a manifestation of divine spirit, of the living love, of divine presence. And we have the opportunity to vibrate as that presence in each and every moment. And with great gratitude for this miraculous dance of life, we say thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. Amen. Do the work, and God bless. See you next week.